What's up guys, and welcome back to 8 Count. Today we're going to be talking about KSI. Is he returning to the ring? Well guys, it looks like he finally is. On the Sidecast podcast, he was going on to say things like avenging his brother and fighting Alex Wassabi, and how he's made videos talking about Alex Wassabi's videos, about his thoughts on KSI. Alex Wassabi was saying things like, if JJ drops down to his weight, then it'll be curtains for him, he's going to beat him and stuff like that. People don't realize, I think the thing that makes people think they can beat JJ is the technique he's shown in his fights. He fought a much bigger, heavier Logan Paul in 2 of those fights. If you look back to the Joella fight, where they were kind of similar weight and they were kind of similar height, obviously I think KSI was slightly taller, you could see JJ was completely dominant, everything was hitting, and obviously that was his first fight. There wasn't much technique on show. Joella's hands were down, he was just getting hit. The Logan fight, Logan used his reach, he's jabbing all the fight, so KSI had to figure out how to fight on the inside and just break down that gap and just close it down. And then, you know, when he got close, it was about making his punches count, and that's where he was throwing his big bomb shots. With this fight, if KSI does drop down to Alex Wasabi's weight, or they meet in the middle, whatever, I honestly think there'll be no competition. I see KSI wiping the floor of him. I reckon we'll see a knockout in the first or second round. Alex Wassabi, obviously we all saw him fight Deji and he looked good. And I think the game plan was go to Deji, don't let him come to you. In saying that, hear me out. Look at that fight. The whole time where Alex Wassabi put the heat on Deji didn't know what to do. He had good head movement, I'll give him that, but he didn't throw much. And he didn't get inside. Deji was the much smaller man. What he should have been doing was getting inside and letting his hands go. What did we see? We saw him get inside once and Alex Wassabi clinched him. He didn't want to be on the back foot. If Deji put him on the back foot, I believe he truly could have won that fight, even with the lack of punches he was throwing. It was just a thing where he never got on the inside and he didn't know what he was doing. He focused too much on the defensive and lasting the full time, and he didn't focus on throwing punches, which is the art of boxing. Back to KSI. He was talking about doing a free boxing event and doing it properly. And I think the reason why he's saying doing it properly is that we've seen so many social media style events, and I feel like they're doing it to a standard where the mainstream boxing were once talking about these guys doing these events and ruining the sport. We've got the likes of Social Knockout, where the ones that's happening in the UAE, and they just look rigged. People are getting tapped and they're going flying down. There's nothing. You've got Social Gloves, which was 90% performances, and like I said, there was the whole fight is not even being paid. And then you had this one, the one that just went, Showstar, and honestly guys, like, just being there, it was an absolute mess. There were fights in the crowd, there were people just standing around ringside. We saw some guys, right, outside of the arena. We saw them go to ringside. We then saw them standing with the VIPs, and at one point they almost got into the ring. Like, it was just a complete mess. There was a lack of security and everything. So KSI and his manager came out and said they want to do an event for free to show people that they can put it on properly. And he's mentioned something like, if him and Logan did a boxing event, they'll be able to see it properly, about how people should really do it. And that's big for me. Imagine KSI and Logan, obviously everyone knows they had that big beef. They then pushed that aside, made their drink prime. Imagine them dominating like the social media side of boxing and like becoming like the Eddie Hearn of this side of boxing. It would be phenomenal. But yeah, I think that fight is going to happen summertime. That's kind of what's been suggested. On that card, what I want to see is KSI Alex Wasabi as the headline. I would like to see Anison Gibb versus Austin McBroom. And I would like to see Deji versus Bryce Hall. I think there we have 3 great fights. I'm gonna make a video and I'm gonna make my own card and what I'd like to see. But I think those 3 fights there would bring so many viewers to the eyes of boxing. Even if we slot Logan Paul in there in a fight, it would do numbers. People would see how to put on a show properly, and I think it would head in the right direction of where these two want to push social media boxing. Yeah, let me know what you think of KSI returning to the ring. Do you think it's the right decision? Do you think he's been out of the ring too long? Should he continue with his music and just leave the boxing aside? Obviously, we all know that his main goal is to knock out Jake Paul and end that whole saga. I think he should go back into the ring and do what everyone wants to see. KSI versus Jake Paul. That's the fight that we all want. And that will do numbers. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think down below. Comment, subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys again soon. Peace.